A new CBS News poll finds the majority of Americans think police generally treat white people better than African Americans. 57% of people in the U.S. believe police in most communities treat white people better than black people. Only 4% feel the opposite. Meanwhile, 39% say both races are treated equally. 78% of black Americans think police generally treat white people better. There are also differences on these views by party. Most Republicans feel the police treat everyone equally. 80% of Democrats see differential treatment against black people. For more, let's bring in CBS News Elections and Surveys Director Anthony Salvanto. Anthony, good to see you again. CBS News polling found that Joe Biden leads President Trump nationally. Several states and Washington, D.C. are holding primary elections Tuesday. What's at stake for Joe Biden?
Oh, hey, Elaine. Yeah, these primaries, many of them were postponed because of the pandemic. So we're starting to see the calendar now roll around to a lot of those states. Many of them switched to heavily or all by mail holding these primaries. Tonight, we're going to see Joe Biden start to add to his already sizable and enough delegate count. So as you get delegates towards the convention, he's not quite at a majority of delegates yet to secure that nomination on the first ballot, even though he is, of course, the presumptive nominee. So what will happen is, as these results come in, he'll amass a few more delegates. I think in the larger context, Elaine, what we'll see is going into the national race, what is going to be the key point? What is going to be the key framework of this election? One of the questions we ask is the economy a major factor in your vote? Is the pandemic, is the coronavirus a major factor in your vote? And perhaps somewhat surprising, many people, as Joe Biden leads this race, say that the coronavirus less an important factor in their vote than the economy is. For Democrats, that coronavirus response is really important, but really more universally, you see the economy popping up as the number one issue. And so as the national campaign really starts to kick off, maybe the campaigns start to get back out on the trail a little bit in the coming weeks or months, you might start to see that as the key topic of discussion, Elaine.
Interesting. Well, you conducted these polls before Joe Biden's speech this morning. What did people then think about President Trump's response to recent protests compared to Joe Biden's response?
So Trump's handling of the protests and the events in Minneapolis, was what we asked, is net negative. You had more people disapproving than approving of his response. Some hadn't heard enough about it to say. But compare that to Joe Biden, where many people have said that they had not heard enough of what Joe Biden was saying in order to gauge his response. Those who had heard what he'd been saying were net positive. Now, that's important because then today he's given that speech and he's gone back out there starting to talk about it. This is going to be an important number to watch. Again, sort of because that coronavirus, especially for Democrats, is going to be a key point, and because the economy is going to be a key point. And of course, no doubt, these protests and the issues that surround them are going to be key points. Can Joe Biden start to make his case about what he would do in response to all of this? That is going to be important. And then the other big part of this we asked about for the president are his tweets, which of course he's been doing a lot of tweeting lately. Do you see them as him trying to unify the country or divide? And more people felt that he was trying to divide the country with those tweets. So we've got that, in the polling, you start to see, again, this very strong, secure base for the president. But then the question for him is, can he build beyond that in order to do what he needs to do to get reelected, Elaine?
Well, let's talk about the coronavirus a bit more. Areas around the country are continuing to reopen, and CBS News polls found that many Americans fear that the pandemic will now get worse. What else did they say?
Yeah, fears that it will get worse. Also, people saying that they're being somewhat cautious about venturing back out. We don't see personal concern about getting the virus having been diminished. People, when you follow up with them and say, why is it that you're going out? Is it because you think the risk is low, or is it because you have to go the preponderance of people are saying it's because they have to go out. So you see Americans starting to tread cautiously, get back out there, saying that they're going to some of the places that they used to go, the public places, but not quite all. That, of course, has an economic impact as well, right? To the extent that people patronize stores or can go out there and get the economy started again. And that, in turn, when we ask people, do you think the economy is going to recover quickly or recover slowly, more say that they feel that it will recover slowly. And so as we've been tracking people's attitudes and how they're dealing with this pandemic, that's really been a constant, that concern, sort of a health first concern, people feeling like they've got to get out there at some point to start the economy, but also being very cautious because many are concerned about still contracting the virus, Elaine.
All right, Anthony Salvanto for us. Anthony, thanks very much.
Thank you.